Hi everyone, we are going to show you how to do value stream mapping. It's really easy. All you need are some post-it notes and a pen. So we are going to give you an example of how you would go and watch somebody do their process and make a map, and then you can use that map to think of ideas of how to improve the process.
Thanks, Jason. So we're going to map a process of Jason's. He tries to get data from Fox, put it in an email so that he can send it to one of his providers. Hi, Jason.
Hey,
Thanks
Josh.
for thanks for having me over. So we're going to map a process of yours, sending an email to a client.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you some questions or have you tell me about the process, and I'm going to use this surface to write on a sticky notes each of the steps that you do in the process, and then I'm going to place it here, and we'll have our map.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So your customer in this instance is who?
It's client XYZ.
Okay. So in mapping, we put the customer on the upper right-hand corner of our map. On the upper left-hand corner of our map, we'll put our supplier. And in this instance, where do you get your supplies for your email?
Just from Fox, that's where the data is.
Okay. So it's not like going to a store and buying something, but you're going to Fox to collect data.
Yep.
Your process. Okay? So I think now we're ready to capture the steps of how you perform this process. As part of that, we'll also keep a running stopwatch as he's going through the process so that we know how long each step takes. So in this example, your first step is what?
The first thing that I do is I open up Outlook, and that's pretty fast.
Okay. So we're probably 1 second on that. Okay. Next.
Then I need to start a new email, so I click New Email.
Click new email. That's in Outlook, right? Okay. And then what do you do?
And then I'll go over to Fox and switch screens, and I'll copy the email address that I need, and then go over and paste it into my email.
Okay, so that could take anywhere between 10 and 30 seconds to do that.
Sounds about right.
Okay, and what else do you do?
Then I just need to fill out the email. So I will type in my subject field, and then I will start typing the body of the email. And as I'm doing that, I need to go to Fox to get information I need.
So I got first typing a subject field. That probably could roughly take 10 to 18 seconds. And then I've got type out content, your content in the body of your email. Then you mentioned that you have to go to Fox to look up some information.
Yeah.
Okay. And is this certain data that you were talking about from your supplier?
Yep. Like if I want to tell them about the provider that's coming there, I'll go to Fox and I'll get the highlights of the provider and copy them and then paste them into my email.
Okay.
All right. So Josh did a great job of helping me map out my process. We've got it here on the wall. So you notice when you do a value stream map that it just flows from left to right. So we've got where we were getting our information from, and then all the steps we do to then send the email and deliver it to the customer. So we've also got our times on here so we know how long each step takes. And the nice thing about doing this with post-it notes is you can move the steps around really easily. So if you have a step in the wrong place, or you need to add a step, you can put it in there. So now what we want to do is look at our map of our current state, and we want to identify areas for improvement. We want to identify any waste that we have, or just areas where we get frustrated and we wish the process was better. So that's what we're going to do next.
All right, Jason. So in your process, what are some of the wastes that you have found? Things that make it difficult to perform?
I think one of the things I'd like to improve is that it just can take a long time to send an email sometimes. Like sometimes like 20, 25 minutes, and you know, when you're sending lots of emails every day, that can take a long time.
Okay. So you said 25 minutes or so?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think a big part of the reason why it does that is when I go to this step right here and I'm trying to find the information I need in Fox, sometimes it takes a while to find what I'm looking for. Maybe it's in different fields, or
So put a sticky note there that says it takes too long to find data,
Yeah.
and then type.
Yeah, and then when I'm typing the email, I think that's where I could use some help, because sometimes it takes a long time to think of what am I going to say in the email, and then I'm terrible at spelling, and sometimes I make errors or put the wrong information in. So I think that's an area that I'd like to make some improvements in.
Okay. So we're going to represent that with two sticky notes. So there's the one of typing, it takes too long to type the information, and then the other one is that you end up with errors and defects because you're writing it your own, on your own. Okay.
Thank you. All right, so Josh was very helpful in helping me analyze and look at my process, and I got a lot of good ideas of what I can do to fix it. So the next step of value stream mapping is to make a future state map. So I'm going to make another map down here with post-it notes of what I would like the process to be once I've made improvements. And it'll be pretty cool to be able to compare, here's where I am today, to here's where I want to go. So let's do that. I spent some time brainstorming, and I have a few ideas. So I mapped out on the wall here my new future process. So one of the things that I found was slowing me down was just the generic way I was typing up a new email from scratch every time. So one of my ideas was to create an email template that I could click on. So instead of starting a new email from scratch where I have to type in some of the same information every time, I'm going to create an email template so that I just click on that and it pops up with already some of the things filled out that I need, and that's going to save some time right there. Another area where I found was slowing me down the most, that took the longest, was right here, typing the actual content of the email, and also finding that information in Fox. Those two things together were the longest steps of my process. So after brainstorming, I came up with an idea that if I change the way that I put my information into Fox and I put it all in one standard place, that now when I go to type my emails, I can just go to Fox, right to that field, and I can just copy right from there and paste it into my email. So then that will be much faster. It won't take near as much time. So I mapped all of that out. If I could make that happen, what would my process look like? And so that's my future state right here. So you can see the comparison of here's what I'm currently doing, and here's what I want it to be. You can see that it's much shorter. And with the timelines, this takes, my current process takes about 26 minutes, and I'm hoping that this will be much faster, maybe less than 5 minutes, and I'll be able to go much faster. So now the next step is I need to identify my gaps, and what do I need to do to get from my current state to my future state. So let's do that next. Okay, so now we are going to make an action plan. Our maps are great. They helped us think about the process and come up with ideas, but by themselves, the maps aren't going to change anything, so we need to take action. So first thing I did was make my action plan. So I have a place to put what is the action that I need to take, and I'm going to have who is the owner of that action, and what is the due date, and then I also have a place to rank them. And so I'm just going to start by filling this in. So if you remember, there were two main things that I wanted to do to get to my future state. So the first one was to make an email template. So I'm going to add that on here. All right, so I've got my email template that I need to create. That's going to have some of the information pre-populated. The other big thing that I wanted to do was to create my standardized way of putting information into Fox. So I'll add that up here as well. Okay, so this is a pretty simple process, and there's just two things that I want to do to fix it. So this will be pretty straightforward and easy, but I've got my two gaps. These are the two things that I need to fix to try and get to my future state. So now what I want to do is just finish out my action plan. So the next thing I want to do is rank these. Which one is most important? Which one do I want to do first? So I think the email template will be pretty fast and easy because I kind of know already what I want to do there. and I don't really need to talk to anybody else to get approval. So I'm going to make that one my number one thing that I do first. And then I will tackle the standardized Fox data. I might need to talk to some people to make sure that I'm where I'm going to put the data is okay. So I'll put number 2 on that one. So next, I want to identify the owner, and this is easy since this is my process and I'm just doing individual improvement for myself. I'm going to own these items, so I'll put my name on there. And then last, I want to make a plan of when I would like to get these things done. So this email template shouldn't take me too long, so I think I can get that done by the end of the month. So I'll put the 30th on there for my due date there. And then I think I'll need a couple weeks beyond that to kind of figure out my standard Fox data. So I'll give myself a couple weeks. So I'll put the 15th on that day. So now I've got my finished action plan. Okay, so just to summarize value stream mapping, you can see all the different elements of the value stream mapping process here. First thing we did is we made our current state map, which you can see here. And we put our starbursts on here, which are these green post-it notes. And we brainstormed and thought about ways we could improve the process. Next, we made our future state map, which you can see here. And now when you have them side by side, you get a great visual of how many steps your process takes today and how long it is. And in your future state, how much better it's going to be and how much shorter it's going to be. And so all of that was great, and it helped us eventually get to our action plan. So now we have our action plan of the things that we're going to do to get from where we are today to our new and improved future state. So now the last step of value stream mapping is to go and execute our action plan and make the improvements. So that's how value stream mapping works, and you can use it to improve any process and help make your work easier and faster and improve the quality. Thank you for joining us today.